For the capital projects, first I just wanted to touch on, for anybody who doesn't know how the process works, really quickly. We have a planning board who reviews and rates and vets our capital project requests once they're submitted. The submission process takes place during the first quarter of the year. The planning board then has the opportunity in the months of April and May to do that vetting and rate the projects. They host a session where it's basically a Q&A for all of the department heads who have requests submitted. From that information, they then vet the projects. They end up getting rated, and they're presented to the county executive. The legislature is given a booklet that it includes all of the capital projects and that rating that the planning board provides. From that, the county executive basically works with Kitty and I in determining how much we have to spend on capital projects for the year. He goes through the planning board's prioritization list, and he basically sort of reiterates that prioritization list based on his own knowledge of any other elements of need that are related to those projects. So that's what leads us to the capital projects that are proposed in the tentative budget each year and essentially approved once it's reviewed further by the legislature. Well, yes. So part of the county executive's review process involves a capital committee that is co-chaired by the county executive and myself. There are additional department heads, legislators, the chair of the planning board, and a couple of others who sit on this committee as the county executive reviews that vetted list of projects. Thank you. Okay, so really quickly in your capital budget tab, you have your Exhibit C, which is all of the currently active capital projects up and through the 2025 approved projects. These projects already have been approved, have funding, and this shows you the status of all of those projects as far as the remaining balances, what's been spent, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Your Exhibit D is your road fund projects. That's all of your D fund associated projects. Supplies the same information. It gives you the original budget, all of your transfers, your expenses, and your remaining balances through August of this year.
The end number, is that the year?
I'm sorry?
So like Sheriff HH 06311006016, is that 16 a year? Is that the capital project?
No, that's just the project number that's assigned.
How do we know how long they've been around for?
That's actually a really good question. That's.
Well, the full description isn't in here, but the account number does include the year that the project was established. So if we look it up in our system, it'll tell us when it was established as part of the description.
Okay. Just curious. I know we've been trying to clean up some of these capital projects over the last several years, and I see some of these even there's $114 balance in the server replacement and upgrade. Can we close that one out, or are we waiting on something?
It'll most likely be closed out, but that I do know that project, the sheriff's office has stuck with actual tangible servers. They have not resorted to cloud-based storage yet, at least for a lot of their inner office operations. So that has typically related to the replacement of those various servers. So it really kind of depends where they are in their cycle, but if they don't need it anymore, if they're considering taking everything cloud-based, then at that point I would imagine that would be closed.
I'll just add part of your question on the beginning part of the account number has to do with which fund the project is budgeted. So all the HH fund projects are all of the general fund projects. All of the enterprise funds, the sewer and water districts, they are in their own funds. And the nature of a capital project is that the project stays open until it's actually closed. So any balances will roll over automatically to the next year. whereas our general operating budget accounts cease and exist, the balances end at the end of the year. There's, only the encumbrances are rolled over.
Okay.
Well, since Dan didn't ask, I'll make a suggestion that maybe you could send a report to the audit, these two committees, similar to this, but showing the account number, which indicates the year that it was open. So they could see all open capital projects and understand how old they are.
Yeah, this exhibit does say all of the ones that are currently open.
Right, but
Yeah.
it doesn't show the date that they were established.
So, and Jen
Right.
does annually review all the projects with the department heads and submits annually the list of ones to be closed. But
Yes, and we have been
we can
seeing
get- we
good,
can get
good
that.
progress there, but to answer the question, if you sent that report, that would
Sure.
Yes,
answer the question. Then if somebody had a specific question about a specific project, they could address it.
absolutely. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Sure, yeah, that'd be helpful.
So for instance, server replacement and upgrade, we spent $267,000. There's 114 left to spend. One would assume that project is pretty much done.
One would assume that, but that project has carried forward from year to year simply because they typically have new server replacements that are scheduled to come up. They have them scattered. They have them on a scattered schedule. So, they'll submit a request for server replacements over the next year or two. Once that's exhausted and they've reached the point where they need to start replacing another one or two of their servers, then they'll submit a request to add funding back into this particular line because it applies to the same,
So it's not a new CapEx, it's just an addition to a standing CapEx.
correct, correct. In some cases, they are, yes.
I'm not sure I like that.
there's only a few instances of that, so if they're like.
It's not
the
typical.
the
That's not,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not the
we do it with,
standard.
like that, the sheriff's office's replacement vehicles, things like that, that are basically an annual thing that you can count on, but the vast majority of them are new projects from year to year. Once they're exhausted, they're closed out and completed. Unless something came up during the course of the project and the project needs more money and they need to add to the project, but beyond that, they typically just close once the funds are exhausted.
And when they need more funds, that's a supplemental CapEx.
Yes.
Goes through the same approval process as the original.
No, if a project is already open and they need more capital funding, what they will do is they will submit a resolution to amend the budget for that project, which will come in front of the legislature.
And that's like Fred's question, it gives them a device to maybe circumvent that capital project process. It moves it up to the top of the list, which should it, so it circumvents the process that's put in place,
To
So
a
that's
degree,
why-
yes.
Yeah, otherwise, then it just comes right to to a resolution that we want to add more to this. Well,
It tempts the sunk cost fallacy.
Mm. Yes. Okay, any other questions on those at the moment? And from that, we will move on to Exhibit E. The very first page of Exhibit E summarizes the total amount of new project requests, and it summarizes them in total by department. And from there, it moves on to a breakout of what those capital requests are. So I don't know if you all want us to, walk through those, if you'd like to glance over them briefly, and if anything sticks out, ask specific questions. I'm not entirely sure how you want to structure that.
I won't make you suffer personally.
So one of my pet peeves from last year was spending $50,000 to study bathrooms. And I have been razzing my constituents with that all year. So I see phase two here is now for $300,000.
It is.
But the $50,000 has only been just touched so far, according to front sheet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do we really want to spend $300,000 on bathrooms?
It's a question we have to decide.
That is a question that you are certainly welcome to ask, absolutely.
Okay.
Two, right?
two bathrooms? No.
It's for the, I believe, well, it's for
Phase two.
one of the first floor bathroom renovations.
In this building? Yeah.
Yes.
I was in there yesterday.
I'm sorry?
I was in there yesterday. No, I'm-
So, originally, they had gotten a quote to do all of the bathrooms, in all 3 floors of both buildings. And so then they pared it down to, why don't we just stick to doing the first floor bathrooms in the 2 buildings? And that is basically where we came up with the $300,000 amount, because that would take care of 1 bathroom according to what was quoted.
One set of bathrooms.
Yes, I'm sorry, one
One
set.
pair.
One building's first floor bathrooms.
Okay.
Because the
Is that
overall
a better way
project,
to
when
say
it
it?
first came back, Fred, was over $2 million to replace all the bathrooms. Just so you know.
Who do we hire to do plumbing and tiles?
The airport people. Sorry.
Did that also include HRC or just the Geo? It also included the building across the parking lot?
There were 2
Um,
buildings.
And so.
Both
but
buildings
it-
first floor.
But what we were left with in the budget also, doesn't that include bringing them ADA compliant as well? So that was a component of.
Correct.
What was included in the
Yeah,
budget for this year.
once you start taking things apart, you have to therefore.
Basically, as soon as you start any renovations, you have to make them ADA
ADA
compliant,
compliant.
I'm
is the
reacting
issue.
to your 2.
2 million?
No, you're, I took it as 2 bathrooms.
One, 2 in this side, and 2 in this building, and 2 in HRC building, so 4.
Yes, yes.
So 75,000 pounds.
Divide that in half again, and that's each individual bathroom,
Why do I divide it in half?
because it's 4 bathrooms.
I just did.
Yeah, that's,
No, he's 75.
Yeah.
And then 300 for 2.
I get it.
And 150 for 1. 75 per. That's with the shoe shine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the gold handles.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. we're-
All right, 75 cents.
Right, yeah.
Enough.
That's good.
I'm glad that it went from 2 million to.
Why it's important to stay on top of them and continue to do maintenance and continue to redo the buildings, because if you just wait, all of a sudden now you got millions of dollars that you have to spend. So
well,
let's
you
do
know,
a
and as,
bathroom remodel, and then in 2 years from now, we'll do the second floors on both floors, at both buildings, and that will be, at that time, it'll be 375,000, you know? So that's the way it's going, you know, so.
well, you know, and the
but-
difficulty is, you know, in a situation like this, since these buildings are as old as they are, even if you wanted to, you couldn't just simply renovate what we have there. As soon as you start to do any of that renovation-related work, we are required to make them ADA compliant. So we can't even remodel what we have and leave the layout the same and keep everything equal. We would have to upgrade the facilities as well.
I'd start on the top floor, because if you,
That's where we.
well, the leaking, you know, so if you don't do
Well,
the top
and-
floors, they leak down onto the ones that you've already
Well,
finished.
but not only that, but in case, that's a good point, because of the piping and the drainage and, everything that goes to feed it may need to be replaced and fixed and changed also.
When do you step over from repair to remodel?
And that's,
And the repairs
I-
cost as much as the remodel.
No. If you have a leaky valve in a wash basin and you repair it, you don't have to tear the whole bathroom out and make it ADA, do you?
no.
So when was this building built? 60s?
70s, 80s.
I mean, the county government's only like, since 1974.
Mm-hmm.
Americans with Disabilities Act was 1990. So, but I would think between 74 and 1990, there was some repairs done.
Oh,
or
sure,
something where
sure.
they didn't have to make it,
Where they weren't required to make that
they weren't required to make,
compliant.
but then since from 1990 till now, you would think they would have to make those ADA compliant. changes.
It doesn't matter when it was built, if you modify it, you have to make
Right.
it ADA.
Yes.
Well,
compliant.
but
Yes.
since 1990, I would have thought we would have made some,
Oh, to bring them
No.
ADA compliant.
yeah.
We
I
haven't
mean,
in
it-
at
it-
least 20 years. I've been-
Well, yeah,
That's where I'm-
anything that's been done in these
Bathrooms
bathrooms
have
has
to say
You don't
been
have to.
absolutely
Only if you
minimal,
modify
and
it.
just to
You
keep
make a
them, keep them
modification.
functioning. It hasn't
That's what I'm
been.
gonna say. If you do good preventive maintenance on an ongoing basis, you're not gonna have to
Well-
remodel them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
But
therefore,
let's
you won't get yourself into the
keep
ADA
in
jam.
Mind, we want people with disabilities to have access to the building
Yes.
and bathrooms.
That's the reason that we focused on the first floor of this building, for
Yeah.
that very reason.
Yes.
Because we want people that come into the building that have accessibility problems, difficulties, to have an ADA available
Yeah, yeah.
bathroom.
I mean, I know it's going to cost something, but I don't know if we should talk about it like it's a horrible thing. I mean, I'm from family members that I have pushed around in a wheelchair, getting them in and out of the building can be a problem. And
The
it shouldn't
upper-
be, they should have access.
The upper floors are subject for discussion,
Yeah.
but you have to have availability somewhere, and certainly the main floor is the right place to do it.
Yeah.
Preventive maintenance is good.
Yes, it is.
And last
You will
year,
never hear an argument from me on that.
All right, so there's another, just picking. Does anybody around here ever use the phrase deferred maintenance?
Oh, yes.
You know in proper English what that's called? Premeditated neglect. We should not do that.
Right.
Kitty brought up the point last year, and I'll bring it up, employee morale. So let's fix them up, and then it's a nice, better situation.
Remember the lounges?
Yes, multiple good reasons that updating the bathrooms will be of benefit to the county.
People on the second floor will still be frowning, but
But they can come to the first floor with the rest of us.
there'll be a line.
That's fine.
No, there won't, because they'll all have to go to the second and third floor first, because they can't use the first one yet.
True.
Well, enough on that.
Any other questions on Exhibit E1?
I'm feeling a little flush.
Are you?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. but
We're
the-
talking about bathrooms and flush.
But I'm willing to take the plunge.
So, Exhibit E2, this is the Sheriff's Office's vehicle replacement request that they submit annually. This is not quite a typical capital project in that it is annualized over the course of 4 years, starting with the year of purchase, and it is charged back to their operating budget in their .4 accounts. So, this is sort of handled uniquely. The total ask is $536,000. So the 25% allocation of that in 2026, that's added to what they are currently still paying from the prior 3 years is $134,000. That's what will be allocated to their operating budget in this year. Exhibit E3 takes you to the roads and bridges capital projects. Just like in Exhibit E1, you've got your various columns that show you the total project request amount, and then it breaks out the funding. And at the far right, on the far right side in the far right column, that's the total amount of the project. So in all of these cases, you're shown the cost breakdown and the funding structure associated with each project.
So, we can really get a new mid-sized 4x4 SUV with a 116-inch wheelbase for $30,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where do we shop? I wanna shop there too.
Cover my pricing.
State contract. Yep.
I knew General Motors was stingy.
Do we buy the sheriff's vehicles, or do we lease those like the other county vehicles?
We don't do either, we purchase them. Because, so the sheriff's office, back when the lease program was first introduced, the sheriff's office did decline simply because of the amount of outfitting that is required to those vehicles. They have to punch so many holes, run so many wires. They basically redo just about everything in those vehicles,
Yeah.
outside and inside. So it really didn't seem like it would be a feasible lease option. So the sheriff's office has always opted not to lease any of their vehicles.
Then you have, how much do we have to add to that $30,000 to do what we gotta do to it, to put it in service? Because that should be part of the capital report.
Actually, that is, the cost of outfitting is rolled into their total capital request.
But not in the C2, is it?
Actually, I think it might be, because we've never, all of the outfitting costs are always also charged to that account, and we have never had to request more on account of the outfitting, so that actually is, that is included in the cost.
So we're getting this
That we have.
mid-size purchased and kitted out for $30,000?
Yes, but something to keep in mind is that, one, a lot of vehicles that are taken off the road, if the equipment is fully functional, they will swap that to the next, to the new vehicle. They also keep backups on hand, whether it be to replace something that ends up being faulty in a currently used vehicle or to use in a newly purchased vehicle. So there's a couple of options that are exercised and utilized to the full extent of the life of the equipment that's associated with the vehicles,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
And that one unit may be undercover too, so it may not be all.
Well, I'm just doing math,
Yep.
because I'm looking at this and thinking that this is the cash out of pocket to buy the vehicle. And every time we bring a new vehicle in, you know, we need to kit it out. That's got a labor component, that's got a equipment shuffle, new equipment, old equipment shuffle.
Mhm.
And that ain't cheap either. And this just looks like it's the cost of buying the vehicle itself, full stop.
For the most part, the sheriff's offices, their tech crew over there are actually the ones who do the outfitting of the vehicles. So it's county staff that spends the time outfitting the vehicles, swapping everything over. We don't pay a third party to do those things. We get the vehicles in and we completely outfit them ourselves. Between the IT department on that side of it, and then our guys at the radio shop that essentially run the lines and get everything set up.
So I take it in terms of capitalization of assets in the public sector, you're not bound by what the IRS makes us do in the private sector? In other words, capitalize all that stuff.
We
No.
have our governmental accounting standards that we have to follow.
Do they make you capitalize project costs?
We,
And put in service costs?
yeah, we amortize assets based on a schedule, yes.
But those costs are not included in the capital authorization request.
I think he's asking about the staff time that's spent
Uh,
outfitting the vehicles in
No.
addition to everything else.
On like a construction project or bigger project, yes, the labor is included in the total capital cost that is
Mhm.
amortized, but this
But
work
with a
on-
vehicle outfitting, it's not.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I got a question. Are there any programs to help pay for this? Are there any, on the revenue side, is there anything, any state or federal programs to help offset these costs?
Not when it comes to vehicles. Best case, you might be able to get some incentivization on some of the equipment, and even that is a long shot and a once in a blue moon thing. There's no vehicle programs related to law enforcement, unfortunately. That's grant related.
This mid-sized vehicle's replacing the horse that we just put away.
You retired the horse? Horses are great for crowd control, but we don't have much in the way of crowd control problems around here.
Retired, you're gonna be using this SUV.
Okay, so we touched on the roads and bridges projects. I don't know if there were any questions there before we backtrack a touch. And then last but not least, you have Exhibit E4, which is your enterprise fund capital project requests that are either rolling forward from previous years or new requests for 2025, or 2026, I'm sorry.
So landfill,
The Ellery retaining wall? I'm not familiar with that.
So up at Ellery Center at the transfer station, where you back in to throw your garbage into the semi,
Oh.
they put a new retaining wall in there with a cement pad, and I think there's plans of building a canopy over the top of that, just to keep people out of the weather and keep the garbage out of the weather. And that's the plan there.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
We have none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll make sure that I get that list of capital projects for the starting year sent to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're a little early, but do we have North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District present?
We do.
Do you need us to go get Allison? Do you need us to go get Allison for you?
Matt Oldek, Director of North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District.
Chad Marks, Deputy Director of Finance for DP.
28. Yeah, we're on.
Start with the FTEs, we're gonna remain the same at 4 for 2026, same as we had in 2025. So there's a slight increase in the budget for sanitary sewers. Mostly because of, we're taking on some more district, the town's district. We're taking on the maintenance and the treatment of that. It's 96 users, 65 grinder pumps, one larger pump station. So that, we're expected to have some costs there for chemicals for treatment. Other than that, that district doesn't cost us anything. They pay for anything in the, as far as the sanitary system. They pay the electric, they pay all that. We just have to treat it and maintain it. It does cost us a little bit with labor, but they reimburse us for that. With that being said, yes, right, we have some replacing a truck that was currently leased since 2019, and I think the lease for last year was $7,000. So instead of leasing, we're gonna get rid of that and buy a truck. Doesn't make sense to pay $7,000 a year for a 2019 truck to me. And getting rid of a dump truck and going to a dump trailer just because the dump truck sits around a lot. It's a lot of maintenance for.
Yep.
The other increase was a little bit for personal, or benefits and personal services. And then revenues, like I said, there's an increase in revenue due to the town expanding their district.
we have any questions from the committee?
So, see if I got this right. On this sewer district, we've got the sheet that shows us what's appropriated, you know, what's in process and what the total bills, the remaining spent is to be. But I don't see a sheet that proposes any new projects. Am I missing something?
Right now, we don't have
Okay.
any new projects
Fair enough.
at this time.
Is that true for, I guess that's true for all the sewer districts, because I don't find any of them.
What are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at, as we did with, let's say, the sheriff, or the headquarters, where there's currently approved projects and how much they have left to spend on them. There was another sheet which was what new projects are foreshadowed for '26.
You're looking at capital projects?
Yes.
Okay. We're looking at
Oh, you
the
went back
operating
to
budget.
operating? Oh.
Yeah, we're on
I thought
tab
you were just
28.
following under that. Sorry. My bad. 28. What is that? He was talking about FTEs.
We'll give Fred a moment.
And so, Matt, as we discussed this morning with Buildings and Grounds, you're anticipating a user rate increase partially through next year?
With the I project, yes. When that's complete, there will be a rate increase to pay that.
I think he said this morning that's due to be completed September, or when the rates are supposed to change. Is when he said his budget was anyway.
That hasn't went to bid yet.
Okay.
We're hoping in the next month. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Construction projects in this climate are always a moving target.
A big holdup is we've never had easements, and we're trying to get the easements.
Yeah.
So
Is that going well? Have you had good feedback from?
we have about 35% of them.
Yeah.
Next week, we are sending letters out to their people, and yeah,
See
it's
what happens. Are
it's going slower than expected.
they? Yeah.
And there's a few holdouts.
Just to further elaborate on that, Dalton, when the North Stock Lake Sewer District was created in the early 80s, they took over the village of Mayville sewage collection and transmission system and built a new treatment plant. So what Matt is referring to is that now that we're looking to reduce the amount of inflow and infiltration into the entire district collection and transmission pipes, we're primarily looking at the old pipes that were inherited from the village. And lo and behold, what we discovered was many of those pipes didn't have easements to be in the ground where they are. And so now that we're needing to go in and renovate or restore them, we need to establish easements to have them there. Quite a challenge for Mr. Olbeck.
If you have a holdout, put a little extra pressure on the system and let it blow out. Say, hey, you gotta fix this mess, look at you and give them a fine. I mean, what else do you do? You know, at the end of the day, they need to just give you the easement, you know? That's the skinny.
That's a slippery slope.
It is.
If everybody saw it that way.
I would assume there are probably a lot of seasonal houses as well.
Yes, there are, yeah.
Did you have anything, Fred?
How, other than the pipes in the Mayville system, how are all the lift pumps and trash pumps that holding up? Are they
Good, we're,
performing to spec and lasting as long as they can?
yeah, I mean, most of the pumps in this district are flight pumps, and yeah, they're a lot more expensive than the competitor, but they seem to last.
I just understand from talking, I don't know if it's your people, but around the lake is a lot of sand. And when we have infiltration, the sand gets in the system, and the sand wears the pumps out faster than thought. So I understand.
Yeah.
Well, if we don't have anything, or I assume you're speaking on behalf of Portland Pomfret as well?
Nope,
You're not?
that's Allison.
That's Allison, okay. Well, if we don't have any questions, we'll move on to Portland Pomfret Dunkirk Sewer District.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mal. Please state your name for the record.
Allison Vento, Administrative Director for North Chautauqua Water and Sewer Districts. Well, the North Chautauqua includes the Portland Pomfret Dunkirk Sewer District, the North Chautauqua County Water District, and the North County Industrial Water and Sewer Districts.
Thank you.
So, just want to point a couple things out with the budgets for these districts. Kind of kept them in line to what was budgeted last year. I am learning and understanding that water usage is not being tracked accurately due to old meters, issues in billing systems, so on and so forth. In speaking to the revenues, kind of kept in line. I've been working with the municipalities, with Portland, Dunkirk, and Pomfret to have meters that are showing no reads, estimated reads for certain extended amounts of time to have those replaced and investigated. So I'm hoping within a year, next year this time, I'll be able to have increased revenue lines. But for right now, there's not much, no real data to go off of to base an accurate revenue. We also have taken a lot of the expenses that were with, due to contracts with like North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District. They were helping with the billing of the PPD district. We've kind of broken out line items for postage, which will now come directly out of the PPD budget. If you'll see, there's a decrease in equipment rental lease because we'll no longer be sharing the printer, copier, folding machine, so on and so forth from North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District, because that's all being done now through my office. I did decrease postage based on the amount of customers we have, calculating quarterly billing, not foreseeing any public notices next year. Most of our major projects are being wrapped up this month. And we did add a mileage reimbursement line for the 2026 budget for the meetings for the PPD board.
I guess maybe you can clarify, or maybe it's a kitty question. I see a lot of the sewer districts are contractually expensed. I guess which district itself is funding the base pay of the district employees?
Not sure I understand the question.
When you-
I mean, the specific line item you're looking at.
Well, like the base pay is 46,000 for Portland, Pomfret, Dunkirk. And the base pay for North Chautauqua Lake is 136,000. But then there's no expenses in the regular columns up top until we hit the contractual, and then there's numbers. I guess I'm confused on how they all work. Maybe I can show you what I'm talking about. Just so I'm looking at it correctly anyway.
That was, okay, so I see what you're looking at. You're looking at the 8110, 8180, or 8114 account. Is that the first page you're looking at?
For, are you jumping between both?
ESP, PPD account.
So like this one here, could you, not that, but then up here, they're all zeros.
Yeah, so we're no longer using the 8110 accounts in any of the sewer district funds, or you're going to see expenses in either 8120 or 8130.
Okay, so that was my question, just as to why there was so many pages of zero. And I'm like, someone gotta be charging it. I just didn't know, obviously, because she's a shared employee, if we were charging it to one district in particular.
No, my salary's split between the districts that I'm
That's-
overseeing.
That makes more sense.
I guess along those lines, I noticed on the summary page contractual, the adopted budget was 132,000, the amended budget is 232,000. Remind us what happened there? That's not a typo, is it?
Where is he?
Right up on the back of the very first page. We have contractual 131,926 adopted, 231,526 amended,
Amended budget.
208 projected.
What did we put in here?
There was engineering for the I&I project that was being completed this year.
Okay, so that was a supplemental at some point.
For this year.
And then we're back down to 180,
Correct.
121 next year.
I have a question just in regards or a comment to it. You know, I'm always a proponent of being as efficient as possible and maximizing, you know, with what we already have. You know, the sound of meters and things not functioning properly, you know, it's a sad thing really, because it's really been missing some, it's not fair to all users. And, you know, it's just, it's really a, why has it slipped through the cracks so long, you know, too? So that's, you know, it sounds like you're working on trying to remedy that, and that's important, because that really affects that bottom line in the longevity of
does.
everything. So, you know, I think focusing on that's very important, and getting that fixed.
Yeah, you know, having a background with water and sewer billing in my previous position with the town of Pomfret, kind of doing a similar thing that I did with them was literally going through each account that's in the billing system, looking at their history of their reads, compiling the ones that have zero reads, the same read for multiple years, quarters, customers that have been estimated. There's reasons for that, and you've got to take the time to figure that out. So I have compiled all of that data, given it to the municipalities, and said I need you to work and investigate what's going on, because we're losing money, you're losing money because you're not charging for the right water usage, and hopefully getting everybody in line with what they're actually using. I mean, that's really essentially the reason for water meters, to track that. Yeah.
Yeah, understood, you know, and that, it's important to do that, you know, and if one person's complaining about their usage in their water, and their neighbor has a faulty meter and they can use whatever they want, well, what's the fairness there, you know? I'm gonna start running a hose over to the neighbor's spigot to
Right,
fill my
right,
pool. And
yeah.
you know, it just is, I mean, that's what you do, you know, so it's important to fix that. But also it keeps the costs down for everybody else. You know, one way that you can receive or have more revenue is raise the rates. Well, you just need to collect with the current rate to 100%. You know?
Right.
And so if you're only collecting 65% because you have some bad meters, fix the meters, and then you'll get yourself the revenue you need, you know.
Right.
Well, it's interesting when you look at what the water plants say they produce and how many gallons they bill.
Yeah.
They're billing fractions of what they're actually producing, and then we all wonder where it went.
Yeah, usage or leaks or, you know.
Yeah, we all say
Yeah.
leaks, but here, you know.
Or meters.
Meters.
Yeah, I mean, if people are using it, you know.
Well, when we're talking about meters here, we're basically talking about the water that we're providing, right?
At the house, yeah.
That's what I wanted to
You're
clarify.
not speaking of
Legislator
each
Scott.
customer's water meter.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are? Mm-hmm. Well, don't yell at me.
No, I'm sorry, well, try to move this closer to me. No, I am speaking of the individual meters for each customer, because when you see a customer that's been estimated for
I'm sorry.
years, you're fine.
You're used to it.
I am. It's that, when you take in that you have 150 customers that have faulty meters or that haven't been read accurately for over a period of time, that's a lot of water that's not being accounted for. So I think making sure that every meter in each household is running properly is really efficient to bring in the numbers and be billing for what's actually being used.
And I agree that that's what but when we have aren't you selling water though to?
Not with the PPD, no.
Portland Pomfret Dunkirk Sewer District is what we're looking at right now. And to clarify, the Portland Pomfret Dunkirk Sewer District charges their customers for sewer usage based upon water consumption. The
Right.
North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District that we just reviewed bases it on a flat fee. The South and Center Chautauqua Lake Sewer District bases it on a fee, not on water usage except for commercial customers. So this is a bit of a unique situation with this sewer district, as they charge all of their sewer customers based upon water consumption. So if Allison sees that this customer didn't use any water, then she can't bill them for sewer.
Right.
And she has been a dog on this bone since she's been in this position this year.
That's why you yelled at me.
By the way, that's the way the
I
city of
was,
Cincinnati
I was
does
in the
across
wrong
city.
section.
You're in the wrong district.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
I retract, I forgive you for yelling at me and I retract my question.
All right, there's cookies in the ledge office. Make you feel better.
He's out that
That's a sore spot right now.
Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet, no PPD.
I wasn't invited to lunch, so I'm not going for dessert.
So just to
I have nothing to do with lunch plans, by the way.
just to put another accent on this, if a water meter is inaccurate, then the customer is not getting billed for the amount of water they're using, and they're not getting billed for the amount of sewage that they're using. So
Well, and a
it can
big
be a
thing-
double hit to.
It's going to
water district and
right, it'll
sewage.
benefit the water for those municipalities, Pomfret, Portland, and Dunkirk, but then also the sewer district.
Right.
Well, it's
You get
difficult.
exemption for irrigation?
But, you know, it'll
Doesn't go down
also,
the sewer.
well, it'll benefit everybody, because you'll be able to realize the
Right.
true value versus saying, hey, we're running in the red, we need to raise the rates for everybody. No, you just need to collect from everybody
Right,
properly.
which is
you
the
know,
first
that's
step.
what- yeah.
I am
Yep.
100% on board.
We're getting there.
At least in Frewsburg, a way that they find leaks is to watch water rates as well. And if you have no idea what's going into people's houses, then it's more difficult for the crews to find leaks in the first place and
Right.
better efficiently run a water department.
I mean, your water rate should only be increasing to help with the operations and maintenance. It shouldn't be
Right.
to offset what you're losing.
Yeah.
I'm glad we ran it down to flush it out. so.
Oh, there it is, there it is. I feel like such a drip.
This sewer district is also engaged in an I&I project that's under construction.
Yep, should be completed this month.
Right. And to give you the historical footnote on this district, again, this was created in the early 80s, and it absorbed some community sewage collection systems. And when they started looking at the I&I project and identified the pipes that needed to be restored and renovated, they found one pipe that was nowhere near the easement that they had, that they thought it should be in. So they had easement, that's the good news. The bad news is that some of them weren't anywhere accurate. So Allison has been dealing with some very interesting challenges with this sewer district as well as Matt.
Yeah.
But I do have one cost question. Insurance.
It's down in
It shows that
$24,000 decrease.
this year's budget is $8,000 and next year's budget is $94.
So, as we mentioned earlier, account 8110 is no longer being used, so there's been some changes as to where,
I'm looking at 8120.
yeah, so it may have been previously budgeted in 8110 and then moved to 8120.
8120's budget this year is $8,000. 8120's budget next year is $94.
Is it in 8130 then?
Yes.
8120, 546.
8130
Should be
insurance 8130's insurance for next year is $0.
There's nothing in for this year either.
Why does the sewer district buy insurance anyway?
This is the allocation of insurances that we talked about yesterday, the liability insurances. So it's based on property insurance, auto insurance, it's their allocation of all of the various liability insurances that we have.
Okay, so if you look at the 8130 line by line, the 8,000 reduction that you're seeing in 8120 is now being booked to 8130. I believe it was booked budgetarily in the wrong sub-department for 2025. So this is essentially correcting it for 2026. So the total between the two sub-departments for the district is still right in line with where it should be. It's just being distributed differently. The split is different.
So where is it showing up in 8130?
8130, oh, wait, no. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong line. I
Yep.
lied. My apologies.
Hey, are you looking at 8130? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at-
You're looking at the wrong thing too, aren't you?
She's looking at 8120. And then here it's,
I'll look up the actual schedule so I can tell you how much year over year was.
It's 94, I'm buying insurance from the county.
So that may be an error that needs to be corrected.
So we're allocating the liability insurance to the sewer district,
Yes,
like automobile liability insurance?
yes,
Does the sewer district have an automobile?
yes. Oh, no, it doesn't. Sorry.
it doesn't, it contracts with North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District.
North Chautauqua was buying one this year instead of leasing it.
Well, all right, now I'm confused. They do have an automobile,
This district does not have an automobile.
but we allocated them liability insurance cost to a district that didn't have an automobile?
It's not just automobile liability.
Oh, okay, so,
When we
It's
talked yesterday
liability.
in the CS fund, there's property, there's general liability, all of that is bundled, and they get their charge based on their share of facilities, their share of auto insurance, if they have autos or not, so,
I'm just,
we'll look it up as we go along if you want to.
Okay.
Keep looking right now, but,
We can deal with this later.
Besides that, does anybody have any other questions for Portland Pomfret Dunkirk?
Well, just, one question on the easement you mentioned before. Are there legal fees in obtaining an easement?
Yes.
I mean, is that something our attorneys do?
No, because the water and sewer district's attorney fees have been, or attorney has been outsourced. I have a separate attorney, Tabner, Ryan, and Kearney out of Albany are the district's attorneys. So we work with them with any legal matters that come up within each district.
So that's an expense,
Yes.
especially when you hire the district attorney.
No, I knew he was gonna. I'm in timeout.
You should be. Yell at him again. We enjoyed that.
Mr. Chairman, really quickly, we figured out where the discrepancy is. It looks like in Department 8130, where there is nothing budgeted, there should be $8,609 budgeted in the insurance line. So that was missed.
8,609?
Yes.
So that means that we need a budget amendment for
Would somebody like to
this department.
make a motion? I can make that motion.
No, you can't because you're the chairman.
Again,
You're the chairman.
Slow down now. I'll make an amendment to amend line 8130-546 for the insurance to increase the $8,609. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Carried, so ordered.
Yeah, we're discussing. Your first time.
I can't even get you guys to vote for it.
thank you, Jim.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay. Thank you. Are you staying up here for the North County Industrial Water District and South District?
I am. So a lot of with PPD in terms of keeping revenues in line with what was what was done last year. Same issues with meters. The Industrial Water District has 16 customers with 17 meters. A lot of these, again, have not been reading, billed correctly. Their sewer and water is a report that I get from another municipality. We are in the process of replacing all 17 meters, hopefully early next year. I will point out, again, the equipment in 8120 rental release, we are no longer utilizing the North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District equipment for billing and processing. That's now being done out of the office, so that was taken out. We did include a postage line item and also mileage. If you see refunds from prior year, revenue 270, I found billing discrepancies to which the district double paid for some items from CBI, so we did get that money refunded for what was overpaid.
So this water and this sewer district are small, as Allison indicated, in terms of number of customers, but they are very important and very large industries to the North County.
Yes.
And so these are very important water and sewer districts, and the administrative boards of the two districts take their responsibilities very seriously, and they have been proactive in addressing some of the issues like the meters that have been a bit neglected over the years. And so, again, with Allison's assistance, we're really tackling some issues that have been plaguing for a number of years. So, good job in both of these districts, as well as in the PPD sort of.
Good job, yes. Now let me be the skunk at the party. So 2024, we billed 330,000 for water, is that right? And we're budgeting and tentative budgeting 400,000. You know where I'm going. That's this account, 8310, R214, 4,000, charges water.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, gee, if you're gonna fix all these meters, first of all, let's go ahead and do it this year. And second, shouldn't we hope that our revenues will improve more than from 330 2 years ago to 400 next year?
That's the hope. Not having the data for actual water that was billed, and being new to the position, and knowing that there is water being lost, the hope is, once these meters are replaced, we would like to have it done this year, but following the procedures, bidding process, et cetera, it's probably not going to happen this year. Everything will be in line to purchase, once the board decides after the bidding process, to purchase first thing 2026 and have them installed in the spring, if not before that.
Right. So, yeah, we'll wait until the warm season next year, roughly.
Yes.
What mechanisms are in place to, we have a bad meter. We have a bad meter, and then it goes for 10 years. Why is it overlooked, or why is it not fixed, and that's, I'm sure it's not, subject to just these few apartments. I mean, it's an issue, and is it just a, lack of, what's it a lack of, and how do we fix it? Because
I think, I can't speak to previous as to why these issues weren't addressed or brought to whose attention it needed to be to replace these meters, to make sure that we're getting accurate reads, but I'm confident that with my position being created, this is what it's all about, right? Making sure that we're addressing the issues and taking care of them and not letting them slide like they have been.
yeah, that's important, and in a sense, it comes to us, sitting here making the decision of, well, the budget looks good. And then we could look back and say, well, geez, it was all bad information anyway. How do we not, know that we're basing it on? And that's why, I know the importance of hiring you was, this is one of the reasons, so that's why I want to point it out too, that, out of the work of hiring this position has been great, because it's going to come back to the district. And also, it's only a benefit to the district because you keep the rates where they need to be just by monitoring what you do have, so.
Dan, just to elaborate on the water meters. If a water meter fails, we have to deal with that immediately.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is water meters that have been placed for 20 years, 15, 20 years. They don't fail overnight. What they do is that first year, there may be 95% accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, they're 90% accurate. Next year, they're 85%. And after a number of years, they're so far inaccurate, but you don't see it change dramatically from year to year to year to year, until suddenly someone says, maybe we ought to look and see how accurate they really, oh my God, we need to replace these.
I was gonna say something really funny.
So he's got something.
Unless you're the customer.
Yeah.
Then you're,
I'm sorry, it just boggles the mind to me. I track my revenue per customer all the time. The revenue per customer starts to fall, I dig into why. But I guess we don't do that, or haven't done it.
Well, there really hasn't been anyone in the position to keep track of that.
that's why we made.
Either, right? So having the data that I have just for this year of what the industrial customers have been billed based on accurate estimated usage, once these meters are replaced and I have a year to actually know what's truly being used, we'll be able to better, yeah.
Bless you going forward. But
Thanks.
for us, as an overall county government, to stand up an enterprise and not get to the 101 of making sure our billings are correct, is kind of foundational.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
No, sir.
Seeing none? Thank you, Allison.
Okay, I'll be back.
Next is the South and Center Chautauqua Lake Sewer District. Number 27 in our books. Hello?
Good afternoon. Tom Walsh, Director of the South and Center Chautauqua Lake Sewer District. First, you have the overview of our budget. FTEs, we have two departments, 8120, which is our collection system, and the 8130 is our wastewater treatment facility. Currently, we have 7 FTEs in our 8120 and 10 in our 8130. In 2026, we will be hiring one more individual, and they will be placed in the 8120, and we are going to move one individual from the 8130 to the 8120, which as we move through the overview, it makes it very confusing because you're going to see a number shift in that, so just remind yourself of that. One of the reasons for the hire of the FTE is the fact that we have a second sewer extension that will be up and running hopefully next summer, and that'll be an addition of the phase 1 and 2. That's an addition of almost 900 new customers in that area.
Can I ask a question with FTEs? What's your oversight with meters?
I think we just had a very good argument why we don't have meters on residential homes. We only bill on usage of industrial users. So anyone who is a resident, they pay a flat rate of $88.50. If you're a brewery and you use 17,500 gallons, that's considered one unit. That's the equivalent of one resident EDU. So that's how we offset those costs. So just for example, we have 5,600 customers at the South and Center Sewer District. But this last quarter, we billed for 8,400 units.
So it doesn't have users in there.
We have more units than we do users, correct, because of the usage of our industrial.
That's per month?
That is per quarter,
Per quarter.
$88.50 per quarter.
Per unit.
17,000 gallons per quarter.
17,500 gallons per quarter. That is approximately 200 gallons a day per home in usage.
The breweries will use a lot more than that.
About 1 million gallons a month. Yeah, there, of course, you have your peaks and lows, but yeah, they're a good customer. 8120, personal services, you can see the addition FTE reallocation of the employee from the 8130 to the 8120. In the equipment, we purchased 2 new trucks in 2026, and we will be selling them on the auction block to offset those costs. Additional district added, increased expenses in new equipment, increased depreciation costs in the equipment. And contractual additional 1 FTE reallocation of employee from the 8130 to the 8120 and contractual increases. And the revenue, the sale of the 2 trucks that I just spoke of. Okay. Any questions on 8120? 8130, which is our wastewater treatment plant. Again, CSEA contractual raises and reallocation of employees within the sewer district. Equipment costs, we have additional computer equipment upgrades that we will be encumbering. Increased costs of material services reduction and depreciable equipment as well. Employee benefits, reallocation of the employee from the 8130 to the 8120. Use of money and property, estimated interest earnings, sale of property, move sale of assets from 8120 for 2026. And revenue increase, phase 2 of our sewer extension. Conservatively speaking and optimistic, we will go online next summer. When we go online next summer, we should have at least 1 to 2 billion quarters in 2026 that will reflect in our budget. Any questions about the wastewater treatment plant? And annually, we treat about 2 million gallons a day. We're permitted for 4.1 gallons a day, but on average, we're around 2. So that's about 1 billion gallons a year that we treat, plus or minus. The largest wastewater treatment plant outside of Chicago treats 1.5 billion gallons a day. So we're working on that.
Close to it.
Contingency account, we have a $250,000 balance in our contingency account. That is just a reserve. If we have big problems, we can handle it. We won't have big problems. And our debt service at $42,465 for 2026.
So since I've talked so much this afternoon about deferred maintenance and I&I projects, you'll note that this sewer district doesn't have any I&I projects because over the years, over many years, they've done an excellent job of annually taking care of their required maintenance. So annually, they're repairing collection and transmission lines that are leaking, manholes that are leaking. They're taking care of their maintenance on an annual basis so they don't find themselves in a desperate situation needing to take desperate actions to fix deferred maintenance.
And we actually have seen a difference, which DEC was very surprised that we can actually see a difference in high flow events, that the work that has been done over the last several years, that we can see that in our flows, that we're not exceeding permit levels.
All right, what's I&I?
Inflow and infiltration.
Yeah. So annually, we spend approximately $125,000 to do all our gravity system, which was put in between 1938 and 1942. A lot of clay tile, which today, if we went out and we have a flush truck that we clean and vacuum all the grit out, it probably looks as good as the day it was put in. But there are some parts that aren't. And we have the ability, we can spot repair, or we can hire a contractor to go in and do a cast in place. And then we also have a contractor that comes in and will line the manholes. And so it's just an all part of that I&I that we do. And we do annually smoke testing in areas that we see I&I areas. So, yeah. Good.
Does anybody else have any questions? I think we're good.
All right,
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
And lastly, I think the North Chautauqua County Water District.
Allison Vento, Administrative Director for North Chautauqua Water and Sewer Districts.
Dan Pecos, the chairman of the North Chautauqua County Water District Board.
So this is a regional water district that supplies Portland, Village of Brockton, Pomfret, Dunkirk, and Sheridan through a contract with City of Dunkirk for the water. This district has two customers, one being CBI and one being the Brockton Portland Water System, to which they purchase water from the district to supply their residents. Since bringing on the Brockton Portland Water System, we do have the potential of another customer, possibly being the Village of Fredonia, coming to the district, which would add another customer that would be purchasing water through the North Chautauqua County Water District. We've implemented a lot of capital projects, the original, getting the district up and running. We are looking to add and continue to improve with upgrades. Our next project we're looking to do is to add master meters at each of the municipality lines to track what the volume of water that each municipality within the district is actually using. In moving with the budget, there's a couple line items I want to just draw your attention to. The first being the EWN 8130 4200 for the electricity. You'll see that this has increased significantly. That is because previously the electricity bills were being paid by CBI, and then the district was reimbursing CBI for those bills. Since my position was created, I'm working on getting the utilities and water testing that weren't in the district's name into the district's name so that the county's paying them directly. So that increase was taken from what we would reimburse CBI and put into the actual line for electricity.
I don't want to backtrack, but I think one thing we forgot before, I don't think you went over our FTEs for both your districts, but if you want to go over that quick, I don't see a change. But
there is no
do you have
change.
anything to comment to it for the public record?
Yep, for public, no change to the FTEs.
Okay. For revenue, I see there's an increase. Do you guys have an increase in rates for that, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so we contract with the city of Dunkirk, and that rate is evaluated every year. This year, it did go up, and then our rate to CBI in Brockton, Portland was increased as well.
Okay. For, I guess I saw in the news that Fredonia was going to obviously outsource water. I guess, what would be a timeline for the district? Or maybe that's not a
Dan,
question for you
touch
at
on
this
that?
time. but-
My guesstimate would be about 2 years. Right now, they made the decision so that they can move ahead and apply for WIA funding and other funding to make the switch. But there's going to be a timeline between the time where they apply and then the time where they hear whether or not they got an award, and then move forward with it, and then complete construction. So my guess is probably a year and a half to 2 years. However, Town of Pomfret is moving forward with our Phase 2 of our North End Water District and getting ready to go out to bid right now for expansion of the district on the west side of the Town of Pomfret near Portland, because those customers they're not current customers. They don't have adequate wells.
Yep.
But because of the size of the line on Route 20 coming back from Portland to Pomfret, North County Water District, it's a small, old 6-inch line. We don't have enough water flow to supply those new customers, so we're going to have to put them on the Village of Fredonia water for the time being until we complete our project. But we're looking at pulling commercial customers on routes 20 and 60 on the east side of town off of Fredonia and putting them on North County water. And one of those is a fairly new car wash that's using over 1 million gallons a quarter. So that would be an increase in revenue to the North County Water District.
Okay. So we should proceed, or we should plan to see revenues in '28, give or take, start for that.
I should take the opportunity to let those who don't realize that Chairman Pecos, who's the chair of the North County Water District Board, is also the supervisor of the town of Pomfret. So he has been doing a yeoman's job in bringing this water district into fruition, I guess is the best way to describe it. This water district was created 8 years ago, Dan?
2016, I think it was fully.
Yeah.
15 or 16, it was
Yeah,
10 years ago.
developed. Yep.
And since that time, several of the founders of the district, the driving forces of the district, have unfortunately passed away and, or left the area. And so Dan stepped into the void and has been leading the administrative board to bring this water district to fruition and to really expand it into areas that it should have been when it was originally conceived. So great appreciation to Dan for what he's done for this water district and to continuing to lead it to fruition. Dan, thank you.
Thank you. We're not there yet, but we're working on it. I think of it more as wrestling it into submission, but going back to Mr. Pavlak's comment or question about how do you know if the water meters aren't working, that's where those master meters that we're trying to get installed are important, because if we can measure the amount of water going into the industrial district, and then we look at all the customers, what they're being billed, you can take a look and see, okay, how much water loss is there? Did we have a fire? Did we have a break? Did we flush hydrants? But we can take a look at that. But without those master meters, the way the lines run in and out of the city and the town of Dunkirk and into the industrial district, we really can't get our arms around that. So it's been difficult trying to figure all that out. The other thing that they did when they set this up, they were billing on all different quarters and different timelines. We're trying to get everybody to bill on the regular quarter basis, March, June, September, December, so that we can get a better picture on whether or not we're losing water.
The other thing that I have is for electricity. We have a 417% increase on 8310-4200. And currently, like I said, the halfway mark, we were at a credit of $130 for the year.
So there's, the switching over of the accounts just happened maybe a couple months ago. So the electricity bills were actually coming out of other contractual due to reimbursement to CBI.
Okay.
So that's why those numbers don't quite align of what we're actually spending, because it's taken a little bit working with National Grid and getting those accounts switched.
Does anybody else have any questions on the committee? Okay, well, I guess that's it for you guys. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Before I go, I just would like to thank you all for adding Allison's position to the North County Water District last year, because it has been a huge help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I guess that brings us to the end of our agenda for today. It is 2:55 on my clock. I will ask, does anybody from either finance and or the committee have anything for the good of the order?
Seeing none?
What?
Progress you've made.
We have. I guess seeing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn today's committee.
Second, third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion?
Now you ask for discussion.
Hearing none.
Doing it.
Carried, so ordered.
They'll get it.
Thank you, guys.
A couple of years.